Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host and author of That Girl the Podcast, where each week we talk about the coming of age at any age. That Girl the Podcast is based on That Girl the novel, which is on Amazon to download, listen to, or buy the paperback of. You can also follow us on Instagram at That Girl the Podcast and our Patreon page.
See how cute we look?
Oh, geez, I'm terrible at selfies.
Oh, God, I'm terrible at this.
You did a good job. I thought I looked great. I think you look pretty.
Oh my gosh, episode 1. Christine Bautista,
Hi.
myself, Jackie Brubaker. We are in the first episode of That Girl Podcast.
You look fantastic.
I know,
by the way.
Do I have on enough? Do I need more bronzer? Do I look too white?
We've already started. We've already started.
Hey, you're the makeup artist.
We could do a little bit more bronzer, a little bit more.
Right? All right.
Here.
Hold on 1 second.
I love this. This is exactly
Is this
what I was
gonna make
hoping
it in?
for.
Did you hear us talking about you?
I did.
See, she looks great.
Yeah.
I love the sassy curls.
I love the hair.
Let's start.
What are you
Yes,
drinking?
girl. What
is that?
Oh, it's just a bottle of alcohol. I love it.
It's Sauvignon Blanc, and it has to be
Oh.
from New Zealand, or else you can't drink Sauvignon Blanc.
I don't know
Yeah,
anything
it's a
about
fun
this.
fact.
I don't either.
I actually learned that from a really drunk makeup artist that had it down to to the T, how to like play off not being drunk the next day. She'd drink every night.
What's the secret?
She would fucking down Gatorades and
Gatorade.
in the morning so she
Yeah.
could replenish, and of course Listerine.
I used to,
Yep.
well, back in my 20s, which this whole book is about my 20s, I would come into the studio and just be like, I'm going to get myself either a Gatorade or I would get cranberry juice and Perrier, and I'd mix the two, which is, by the way, delicious. And
Cranberry
also,
and
really-
Perrier.
Yeah, like just half and half. It's freaking delicious. And it's
In the
very,
morning?
Yeah, it's very hydrating.
Oh,
Just a
okay.
little
tip.
A little tip. All right, let's open this. This is the premiere episode.
Are we recording?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you're going this way.
Okay.
It's okay.
Just-
Oh,
Ah, that's amazing.
Yay.
Cheers.
Well, just
To episode 1.
To episode 1.
Johnny.
So now that we're all together,
Yay.
let's talk about chapter 1, work-life balance. Tell me what you guys remember, what you thought, just stuff that came up, and I also have questions to ask you, but let's just go, because it is
Okay.
truly all about behind the scenes of being a hair and makeup artist in TV or film and what it's really like. And it is not the glamorous, oh my God, I'm the celebrity makeup artist. No, you're not. No, you're not.
No.
Nani, take the lead.
I totally resonated, like when she was talking about, putting on the tanning, the foundation, and having to slather it on, and how there's nothing natural about her making it look like a natural tan. But that's just literally, in a nutshell, that describes everything that we do
Yeah.
as makeup and hair people. There is nothing natural about how anybody looks on screen. It's very, very seldom that you have people that walk in and they're like, okay, a little chapstick, a little moisturizer, you're good. Like, never.
And those are really only men too that can.
But
even
even with the men, I mean, even with the men, like, you'll get 20-something-year-olds walk in there and we'll have to color correct like a hairline, and we have to adjust. Like, there's so many little adjustments that the camera will pick up on, and the public just really doesn't understand that. And I know that we're marketing a product, but it's unfortunate because the children or the younger crowd seeing that, it really brings a lot of confusion into their lives, thinking that, a lot of pressure.
Yeah, like this is the standard.
This is how you should look. And if you don't look like that, then, something's wrong. Or, you know what I mean?
It took a village to get
Literally.
that,
to get that and then to maintain that for hours.
Yeah.
Right. Literally, it will take 2 makeup artists or 3 makeup artists to do the body, to do the face, to do the nails, and then to have another hairstylist and maybe another hairstylist to help make it happen if you want to get someone through in like 30 minutes for a female.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that people think, oh, you know, I'm sure they have all these hours to get people ready, and we have no time.
No.
They just never give us any time, even for something really complicated. And we're expected to just jump to it. And then when we're running late or it's not finished, it's like, you didn't give us ample time to even get there.
No. Well, and the thing is too, is like your job kind of depends on you getting these actors in and out of there.
Absolutely.
You know, and if you can't do it, well, we can find someone else.
There's definitely many layers to our job, and that being a big one. You absolutely cannot hold up camera. You can't think that you're going to fill your moment. Like, you have to have that planned out, and it has to be like a science to get it on. And if you have to change it, like, it's no more than 15-20 minute change. Or in some cases, quick change is less than 5 minutes.
Right, on set, exactly.
I think just people don't understand our job. You know, they just think, oh, just do this and, you know, just wave a magic wand and it happens, you know, but it doesn't work that way.
No.
I can't tell you how many people, whether they were actors or whatnot, have been like, oh my gosh, you're so fast. You're done already. I'm like, yes, I had, this is how it is. Like,
this is what we're trained to do.
Yeah.
I've never had more than, 20, 30 minutes to do something. In the book, I talk about how, like, people are just, like, pumping out makeup artists from these schools and hairstylists, and they really feed them this idea of, again, like the celebrity makeup artist, the celebrity hairstylist, that they're going to come to work in this, like, really cool outfit and be the star. And they are absolutely not the star. And if any of us showed up to a movie set like that, we would be totally laughed off and been like, go put some fucking tennis shoes on. Why are you wearing flip-flops? Like, what? Like, the simplest things that, like, younger makeup artists I've heard be like, wait, you have to wear closed-toed shoes? I'm like, well, yeah, that's like a law.
But
like,
honestly,
you really hurt yourself.
That's how we can tell that you're fucking new, because you don't know how to dress. This one.
Or they come in with full-on hair and makeup, and I'm just like,
what time do you wake up?
Yeah, I'm like, no makeup, my hair is not done. I'm in my yoga outfit.
Top knot.
Yeah.
Top knot city.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
it doesn't matter.
There's definitely that where you can tell the new ones that are coming in and they're just so trendy. And I mean, granted, you do have some trendy makeup and hair people out there that are super fucking bougie, but for the most part, across the board, everyone is like t-shirts and jeans, sweatshirts, closed-toed shoes, and unless you're in front of camera or you're working on a live stage, it's show blacks.
Right. Absolutely. Right. So here's one of our prompts, because this does take place during your 20s and like early 30s, like 30, 31, 32. Talk about a time in your 20s or early 30s when you felt like you really hit rock bottom, and kind of what that looked like, if that was with your career or if that was with your love life or something like that. You just read mine, so I'll stay out of this one.
I think for me, it was in my 30s. It was the beginning of my 30s is when I started to see a shift in the relationship that I was in. I was not fulfilled. And basically, I would look to my work to completely, like, immerse myself into it because I was so unhappy at home. And working on set, it's really, really easy to do. And that's something that they don't really talk to you about, how easily you can, like, pull your relationship apart, or you can lose a sense of self because you're on that hamster wheel. And, before COVID, we were working it was very common to do 80-hour weeks.
Right.
And when you're on location, it's even more so. Like, on one of my jobs, I think I did 105 hours in 1 week.
Yes. And now that has really switched with COVID, especially. I mean, they're trying to save money and cutting people. Like, I just was scheduled to produce on a show, and I was postponed all year and was supposed to fly out like this week. Actually, I was supposed to be in Hawaii this week, having waited all year. And they're cutting anybody who doesn't need to be there. And now their expenses, like their insurance, is so high just to have a show that that's terrifying for a studio.
Yeah.
And even though that they're trying to cut costs with, you know, limiting the manpower and the this and the that, they, you know, we have COVID reps on the sets, and they do display tremendous amounts of support to us, but you still have production trying to fight you tooth and nail for some of the things that really make a huge impact on how we perform.
Well, Nani, especially today, had a very interesting experience with that. We will not name names to protect the semi-innocent, but she did do a haircut, and I'm going to show you a picture of what she looked like. What was it like wearing a hazmat suit to do a haircut today?
In 100-degree weather.
In 100-degree weather.
Girl, I was sitting like a fucking $2 hooker on nickel night. It was so fucking hot. I was dying. I had stomp ass, girl. I was just so hot. And the actor's looking at me. He's like, oh. He goes, wow, that's incredible. I'm like, isn't it though? Isn't it incredible? I'm like, I can't cut your hair in the sun. Can you just tell me where you want me to cut your hair? Because I am dying. Literally, I had a full suit on, the face mask, or the face shield, the face mask. I have my glasses on, which was a poor choice. I should have worn my contacts because now I'm dealing with fucking fog. And I was just like a drunk toddler, like trying to find my way to my station. It was fucking awful.
Oh my God. That was amazing. When you sent us that picture this morning, I was like, I just want to post this on every platform. Like, this is what our job looks like now. This is it. This is what you have to do if you want to be a makeup artist. No more looking cute. Just look like you're going into the
after
ER.
I got your photo, I was just like telling her, you know, I don't want to go back to work. It's already hard enough as it is, and then you have to add all these other things on top of it.
It's definitely emotionally draining, for sure.
Yeah.
You either voice how you feel and lose your job, or you just shut the fuck up and you do what you're told, and you don't get paid to think.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that is kind of just the quote of our business. It's like, if you voice anything, like, it really is, it could be your job, because no one is permanent. There's never, you're always a daily hire.
No, it's
replaceable.
It's all disposable. You're all at the disposal of production, and if they don't need you anymore, you're done.
Because there's always that person, like you said, the new people who are willing to do whatever it is they're asked, you know, for the job, you know? And so for the people who have been in the business longer, who are just like, hey, you know, these rules, or this isn't safe, or this doesn't make sense, you know, you risk your job if you try to voice it, you know, because there is someone off the street who wants your job, who they can hire, you know, to take over.
Right. And it doesn't mean that they're any better than you at all. It's just who's easier to work with. And that's unfortunate, because there are times when, you know, we've all worked on shows that were just not okay, you know, for some reason or another. And you were like, all right, like, one in particular is really coming to my head right now, where I was like, I'm dying slowly. I think I'm dying. And there's a medic, but he's not really doing, he was giving me codeine. He's like, here you go, honey, here's some codeine. I'm like, no, like, I have like a parasite. I'm like not able to eat. And I've been here like 4 weeks. I gotta go home. Yeah, you can't really say you need something.
No.
And that's the other thing too. It's like, I think that after years and years in this business and dealing with unspeakable, crazy, you know, asks of everyone, you kind of just get to a place where you're like, I don't want to do that. I'm just not going to take that.
Is it worth the money?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Can I?
I just had the same conversation with another hairstylist, not that, like, literally yesterday, and we were going over the rates and the responsibilities and weighing them out. And I told her, I'm like, listen, do you want to be in an environment that you're not aware of how that department head runs their ship, and they're not necessarily going to put you and your family at their priority because they don't give a shit about you? Yeah, granted, you're getting paid $10 more an hour than you're used to, but you got to ask yourself, is that worth it? Is that worth my sanity and my health and It's not.
Right.
You know, it reminds me of a show that I was doing. Actually, I was doing it with you two. We were doing the same show, and I left because I was offered a job that it was a lot more money. And looking back on it, I regret it. You know, it's just like it wasn't worth that extra $10, you know? So I think it comes with experience, with, you know, age, and seeing, you know, what is it that I really want? You know, I think at our age now, you know, I think like we've all known each other since we've all started in the business.
Just little babies.
I think we have just experienced a lot, you know, and what's worth it, what's not worth it.
I feel like maybe all three of us are kind of questioning. I've since moved on from makeup and went into producing, and that took years really to transition. And I only just completely made that transition last year. And so I was doing both at the same time. It feels like maybe we are all kind of in that same place of wanting to try something new and pivot. Because if anything, gosh, just to get ready for work and just the work environment just seems exhausting on top of what it already was.
It's to mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah, like mentally prepare yourself. Like, I'm going to wear a hazmat suit all day, and I'm not even going to be able to touch up my talent. I hear most people are in the makeup and hair room just sitting there, and that's it. Like, your talent goes out, and you're just like, have a great show, which is kind of nice. But also, like, what if something needs to be fixed and like now they look terrible on TV and it's
like
your
that's
fault?
my work.
Do you guys have any, again, without naming names of shows or actors or anything, but any really funny experiences or like embarrassing experiences that you'd like to share?
You know, I was thinking about that. I mean, I've dealt with actresses who are just nasty, and they're just not nice people. They treat you like you're a piece of shit, like you're less than them. I've had actors that have been just drunk out of their minds, where they're asleep in the chair and we're trying to get them through makeup and hair. Meanwhile, someone from production is making giant cue cards so that they can remember their fucking lines. Like, it's insane. I mean, I don't see it as much as I used to like 10 years ago with the poor behavior, because I do feel like within the last couple of years, people are being held more accountable and not being allowed to act really like this. But I do know years ago, I mean, even the people before us would say, oh yeah, go to the camera truck, that's where the cocaine is. And you know, I remember when I first got in, when I first got in, the wardrobe girl was having sex with the freaking transpro guy, the base camp transpro guy in the honey wagon. In one of the small rooms. Like, it was just
a lot of those stories. Not with me. Other people.
Clearly not with you. Jeez.
But a lot of sex, like a lot of like funny things going on set, where like
a lot of drugs. Yeah.
You know, makeup artists having sex in the trailer, people walking in on them. You know,
you're just like, oops, sorry, I'm just getting touched up. I mean, I feel like there's one scene in the first chapter, I think it is, that an actress walks in and she's like in full method acting, and she's like, I'm getting married today.
Oh my God.
And that really did happen. And we all were like, what? And looked at her, and she was like fully in it. And I was like, oh, on the show, right? Yeah, you're so freaking crazy. Like, she was insane. I mean, nice girl, but like, just not fully there. But it's just crazy. Or like, oh, we know this person. She was able to cry on cue.
Yes,
with
I know exactly.
The specific eye, she could have a tear come down in the specific eye. Oh,
you know her.
You know who she is.
I know who she is. And
I just am like, I'm so impressed by that. No.
Yeah, I wish I could do that.
I wish I could do that too. Just like, if you really need it, like a cop pulls you over, you're like, just one tear comes down. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. Incredible.
Yeah.
I could never do
I could never in a million years do that. I'm sure I could like try to think of something horrific to build up to trying to cry, but on cue like that?
On cue.
No, I only cry.
It's very impressive.
Well, as crazy as some actors are, there are some wonderful actors out there too. And I don't want to like make this a whole bashing. Oh, actors are the worst. Like, we all have friends who are actors.
Yeah.
They're lovely. and they're like the very few. But there is something very true about new actors that we all, I think, have experienced on like new shows. After like the first year, they're still pretty nice. But after the second year,
what is it about that second year?
Oh, I don't know, but it is so true. After that second year, they are just suddenly, they have all these demands. They're really fed up. They don't listen to you. They don't sit still. They just don't, they want you to do their makeup the way they want it like done. And it is so frustrating. That's such a weird phenomenon, but it happens like almost like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, definitely. Yeah. I would say in episodic, I always say if you have new ones that come in first season, definitely by the third season, they're completely different people. Mm-hmm. Because by the second season, they start to see what other people got and maybe what they didn't get. And by the third season, it's like, it's fucking the gloves are on.
I mean, not to say it happens with every new up and coming actor. I've worked on shows where we've had those up and coming actors and they are just, are just such the loveliest people. And we're still good friends. And I tell them, please don't ever change. Please don't ever change, because you're amazing, don't let this business get to you,
And it does. It's just when you have too many people in your ear feeding you, you're great, you're
what
great,
it
you're
is.
great. Yeah. You just, you feed the monster, and it wasn't even a monster to begin with, but now you've got this monster. I've seen, we know who we're talking about. There's so many hair and makeup people who will just like feed that monster.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're just making it worse. Like,
well, it's
do you
that
want to be treated like that?
That comes from inexperience, or it comes from a place of ego or insecurities, and they feel that they have to lock in that relationship for job security.
Absolutely. And that's how so many people do lose jobs, because then they manipulate that actor. And then one day that actor's going to leave them and they're going to be like, oh, great. Now what do I do? Yeah. It's a really slippery slope. It's very dangerous.
It reminds me, I was talking to you earlier about a show I was working on, and it had an actress who is very well known. And like we said, like, you got to dress down. Like, you can't look cute. Because I wasn't even looking cute, but she had an issue with me, and it was an issue throughout the whole first season. It was really hard emotionally. Like, by the time I was done with that first season, I was just, it kind of like broke me a little bit. But you can see it because she was such a big star. You can see everyone feeding into, you're so amazing, like, what can I do for you? And I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna be real. I'm not gonna feed into your ego. Do you want to contribute to it, or not?
Absolutely.
But honestly, you guys, I think across the board, most female actors are so insecure, and the men too. Let's not fucking sugarcoat this shit, okay? The men can be worse sometimes than the women.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I've worked with
anybody that has worked with me knows I'm always tying my hair up. I've recently just cut it, and I've always had like a really long hula haircut. I'm originally from Hawaii, so like that's just part of my essence. That's part of who I am. So that's what I felt most comfortable with my whole life, which was having the long hair. The bad thing about it is because of the amount of hair that I have, and especially if I'm doing like an amazing blowout, people are like, they would be touching. Is that all your hair? It's like, yeah, get your fucking hands out of my hair. Like, come on. But I'd have to totally downplay it because I don't want the attention. I don't want to take away the attention from the actors. I don't want to, it's just unnecessary. That's not what I'm there to do. I'm there to get them through to the camera, to be their best, help them to really give the performance, whatever it is that they're there to do. That's what I want them to do. And they don't need to be thinking about me.
Right.
Absolutely. Just to stay focused.
Yeah. It just makes me think of, all those hairstylists or makeup artists who want to be in the business, because they think it's so glamorous, what we do. And I've had instances where they'll ask if they can come visit set and just see what I do. And, I get the approval and they come in, they take a look, and they're just every single time, is this what it's like? Like, you know, they just have no idea their bubble gets burst, you know, because it's not, like you said, like they think they're going to come in, they're going to be like the celebrity hairstylist, like, or, you know, makeup artist, and, you know, the spotlight is on you, but it's not,
Right.
you know.
Okay. Did you ever, and maybe we've already talked about this, but did you ever take a job or have a boss that was just like the worst? And again, not naming names.
Yes.
Would you like to go first, Naughty?
Yes. I actually worked under a person that had the worst reputation in the whole 706 union for a really, really long time. And I'm not going to name any names, but this person literally, I mean, I only cried 3 times on the job.
Only 3 times.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It is good because I worked for that person for 10 months.
Wow.
10 months.
Is really impressive, actually. I was just going to say, how long was the job?
10 months. Wow. And that was my first full-time job in Los Angeles after I had left the job that we were on together.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, you know, this person like would show me how to block a wig. And I've worked in the theater for a couple of years. I was only an assistant. So basically my job and my duties were very limited opposed to being a stylist at that time. But I was learning a lot. I knew how to block wigs with theater. Theater lace is very different than film and television lace. So she was teaching me more of, you know, this is what we do in this arena. But whenever I wouldn't do something right, like for instance, the wig wasn't blocked good, that person would just like rip the tape up and be like, and then like that person would be like, it's like this. So anything that I would do was wrong in the beginning. And, you know, I remember tearing a piece of lace and the person goes, well, maybe you're not meant to do wigs. And it's like, who fucking says shit like that? Like, really? Because I made a mistake? Like, that's the only way that you learn. Yeah. I mean, thinking back on it now, I would never tell anyone that's new, I would never tell them something like that. Because,
well, you obviously have compassion too and empathy.
From that experience of working for that person for so many months and seeing the dynamics of how that person not only mistreated myself, but mistreated her peers, the other peers that were on her level at that time. She made 2 of them cry, like just mean. And I know that the you know, the hairdressers before us, that was kind of like their spiel, that they were so mean and conniving and nasty to each other. And they found delight and pleasure and messing with people's lives. And I just, you know, I took a lot from it. It showed me how not to department head. And I got to tell you, after I left that job, because how I was so mistreated, that's when I started to department head. And you know, despite that I was not qualified to be a department head, I did whatever I had to do to learn how to be a department head, because I wanted to make it my personal responsibility to create a positive environment for the people that I was working with. And I didn't want my kids to be used against me. That there was a lot of that going on at that time as well. Wow. You know, so it was, you know, it was a scary time, you know, being the newer person and stuff.
Yeah, that is a really, really strong point. My mom was a makeup artist and had me, and I went to set a lot as a young person because there was nowhere else for me to go, especially during summers. Like, I just remember being on set with her, and I would be very quiet and like, you know, a good little kid, but it's very difficult to have children and to not have a stigma because of that, because people just assume like, oh, well, she has kids, so maybe she's just not available or whatever.
There's a lot of that. So a lot of people take it upon themselves to speak for you. Oh, she's not available, she can't. And that drives me fucking crazy. It's like, don't take money away from me and my children. Let me have the opportunity to decide if I'm able to do it or not.
Let's talk about dating a little bit in our 20s, because we talk, you know, like dating the like losers that we dated. And that was like, what would you?
Christine is like,
I didn't date in my 20s.
She didn't. She's been
I
married
can
forever.
talk maybe my 30s.
Right.
Like
okay.
right now.
Yes, she can talk as of late. But yeah, like talking about those kind of loser guys that you've dated and sort of, you know, what you would tell your younger self, even if it's just months younger self. What would you tell your younger self?
oh, Christine, what would you tell yourself?
What would you tell
What
yourself?
I tell myself.
I feel like you have so much insight now.
I kind of, you know, in my 20s, I didn't do the dating scene. You know, I would tell my younger self, you know, slow down, you know, enjoy it, get to know the person. I didn't really have boundaries, you know, when I was younger. And I think that's what a lot of the problem was. I didn't have a lot of self-love. So I think that would be my advice, you know, to my 20-year-old self is, you know, to focus on you. Learn those things, learn when to say no, you know, what you're okay with, you know, don't compromise yourself to, you know, to make the other person feel better. You know, take your time. Don't
Absolutely.
just, you know, put all your eggs in the basket, you know, with someone.
Oh, I never did that. I put all the eggs in the only basket. Only one.
That was me.
For years.
That was me. Yeah. No, I started having kids really, really young. I actually was a teen mom. So I grew up fairly quickly and I never really dated because I always thought, oh, I need to establish and like now I have a baby, so I need to have a family. So that went and put me in the wrong direction, you know, thinking that that's what you have to do because that's what society expects you to have a husband. What I should have done is explore life and learn how, like how Christine said, love yourself more, do things for yourself, you know, go to school, whatever your desires and your dreams are, do things that you want to do.
Right.
And focus on your personal development and not looking to identify how you're made to feel by a relationship. Because I mean, the end result is always going to be a failure.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like we're in the same boat. We're trying to live up to like societal expectations, you know, and what I should be doing at what age, you know, and not what our authentic selves, you know, truly want.
And your 20s are such the breeding ground of finding yourself, who that authentic self even is. You know, it's very much an extension from your teenage years. I really feel like your teenage years are just a younger version of your 20s, and it is that time if you have the chance to find yourself and make all the mistakes and really just like try everything if you can. But so when did you guys feel, you obviously younger 30s, when did you feel, Nani, that you started to really find yourself and find that person?
I want to say in my late 30s is when I really started, when I left a 15-year relationship because I had realized that he just wasn't doing his part. And he was so resentful to me because I was, you know, working so much. And part of me working so much was to put him through school to get his bachelor's degree and support our children. Right. So that, I mean, that was a very, very expensive lesson. You know, so all that resentment ended up turning into me just not wanting to be there at home, you know, staying, you know, 10 years ago, you could go on anytime that you worked a Friday, which is a Friday going into a Saturday, you could totally just go on the back of any truck, whether it be a craft service truck, and people are just hanging out and decompressing from a fucking really long week, you know? So I found a lot of comfort in that. And in doing so, I started to drink a lot. And I was smoking a lot too. I mean, I haven't smoked since April 22nd, 2012. And I smoked for like 20 years.
That's amazing.
You know, so thank you. I have the weight that I picked up to prove that I no longer smoke.
But your lungs are happy.
My lungs are so happy. The thing is that, you know, you just start to realize, you know, you spend more time with the people on set than you do your own family.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why it's so important to have a great team, because you really do need the support. If you're working with toxic people and then you have to go home, either you're in a relationship where it's not working very well, I mean, it only gets worse. Or if you're in a good relationship, you now take that home.
And they have to live that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking back on my 30s, I just was like, you know what, if you're not happy, if you're this unhappy, and I ended up having an affair on my ex. And that was a straw that broke the camel back, where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, if I'm this fucking unhappy, I need to go. And because we had children together, I said, you know, you get yourself together. And, you know, it took me fucking 2 years to get him out of my house. Because
I understand that very well. Got it. Keep going.
Yeah. So basically, you know, after a while of him just kind of moving at a glacier pace, you know, summer came and I just said, you know, it's time. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. So I finally left. 6 months later, I met my husband, you know, who I'm with now. And we've been together for 5 years. So I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing because, I mean, it was only 6 months that I was by myself, but when I met my husband, I knew he was the one for me.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Definitely. And you know, because you know, you know?
We laugh. I mean, when I met my ex, I was 21 years old. I was so young. And when we finally, you know, broke up, I was in my mid 30s. There's something to be said when you turn 40, there's like a veil that gets lifted off of your eyes. And you are just like so much more aware of who you are as a person. And I have never known myself as much as I know myself now. It is the most incredible experience. You know?
That's amazing. Well, I'm real close to that age. So I feel like the veil has been lifting and it's so nice. I think, I mean, we all have this societal view of age, and especially women with age. And truthfully, like, I mean, basically everything you just said, it's like, I feel like I've only gotten better and smarter and happier the older I've gotten. I would never want to go back. Never. No. I would go back to age.
Not at all.
I would go back to age 30 for my body, but I would never go back for the rest of it. Like, no thanks. It's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I feel so powerful now.
Yeah.
So incredibly powerful. Like, I don't need you. I don't need anything. I'm very self-sufficient. If you're in my life, it's because I choose to have you in my life because you're a good person. And you love yourself so much that you just won't put up with anything. Right. It's a really beautiful place to be. So I hope that younger people listening to this, especially when you are in your 20s and you're just like, woo, everything is so dramatic and so heightened and there's so many emotions happening and you think this guy is the one or this girl is the one. Maybe they are, or maybe they're not. And it's just a big lesson that you're learning, and that's it. Well, I would love to have you back for many, many other episodes. I feel like the three of us will just, and like the book gets more into music and the music industry. So that's a whole other fun topic. But the story is really a love story, actually. It's a self-love story, and it's an actual love story, like falling in love for real the first time. Not with the dork. That's like the nicest way of saying dick. I'm like, I know, we're just going to get better lighting and better sound every single time.
Bronzer.
Lots more bronzer. I think I'm going to start self-tanning.
We're used to being behind the camera and not in front of the camera.
I'm not used to this. I'm like, more contour.
Naughty.
All right, my dear. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
That was it. We're still recording, so let's say goodbye.
Okay.
Let's do a little zhuzh of the hair. I just always want big Texas hair. I just want to be a prom queen and a pageant queen.
And me, I'm just like, oh God, it's so puffy.
Thanks for having us, guys, to the first That Girl podcast. I'm Jackie Brubaker. You can get That Girl, a novel, on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and the Audible, all on Amazon. And I want to thank Christine Batista. You can find her on Instagram at
Bloom with Chrissy.
Yes, with a K. Chrissy with a K.
Yes.
And she's amazing. She's going to be back a bunch, so you're going to get to know her really well. Have a great day. Be good to yourself. Be good to others.
Bye, guys.
We did it!
Oh my God.
I was like so hot the whole time.
That's why I moved. I was like this. I'm like, okay, my armpits are sweating. I need to air them out.
I'm so glad the air is on. I'm like, I don't even care if there's noise. It's just so hot.
Oh my God.